What's up, guys? It's been 2 days since I installed the packages. I'm gonna release the queen today, so let's see what's going on in here. All right, I've taken apart the hive. This box is completely empty. I need to give them more food. And here's the bees in here. Let's open it up and check it out. All right, looks like the queen bee might still be in here, so let's get her out and see if she's still in here. And looks like the queen bee. Yeah, we need to release the queen out of here. All right, I've taken the cork out. Let's see what is happening in here, if they let the queen bee out or not. Waiting for her arrival. Zoom out a little bit. I wanted to pull the cork out completely, but it ended up pushing it back in. Actually, my friends, the queen is out. There she is. She's walking around. It's the one with the large abdomen. She doesn't like to show off, but there she is. She's out of the cage. She's an unmarked queen. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to track her in coming years. All right, let's put them down. All right, the hive is locked up and the queen bee is released. I've put the queen bee box inside there so that if in case she's still in it, she can go into the hive. There's a queen bee out by herself. I don't know if they're attacking her. Looks like they are attacking her. This queen bee's trying to run away, but then she comes back and flies. Well, that kind of went well, as I was hoping it would go a little better, but one queen bee was accepted. The second queen bee, not so much. I left them as is, kind of, and let's see what happens tomorrow.
Well, hi, Janae. Of course, I'm Trish with Simply Surviving Urban Farming with Trish. And I saw your bee video. It's just awesome. And that's one of the things that I plan on doing in the future, but I just don't know anything about it.
Sure.
I don't have all the answers. So, of course, that's why I reach out to others who can kind of guide me as well as my platform on how to start a beehive. What would be the first step in starting a beehive?
Absolutely. So the first thing that you want to find out, depending on your location, and now there's beekeepers in every city in every state. So
Mhm.
the number one thing you want to do is look for a local beekeepers meetup group. Once you
Okay.
find this meetup group, you can then, of course, meet with them, and the bees that you will be purchasing will be from one of these beekeepers. And of course, they have an operation, and depending on the training and whatnot, usually this is around the time, the springtime is when we start getting our beehives and
Okay.
get them set up. So when I went through the program about 3 years ago, I went through an 8-week course
Hmm.
that my local president of the beekeepers group, put together. And when you go through the training, you go through the meeting. Basically, you're learning from this book. And he said, okay, the first thing we want to know about, we want to learn about the bees. We want to learn about their anatomy. What they need to survive, what their maladies are. Especially, bees have lots of parasites, lots of different things that they are affected with. So we want to make sure that we, also address those things.
Is there a particular species of bees that you should get depending on the region that you live in?
Yeah, so here's the cool thing. Honeybees are not native to the United States or the North America at all.
Wow. Really?
Honeybees are actually native to Europe, Asia, and Africa. So
Wow.
the bees that survive here and that do really well are mostly Carnolians and or Italian bees, as well as Russian bees. So those are some of the bees that you'll find. Now,
mm,
the most bees that we find here that are local to the environment are a mixture of Carnolian, Italian. They're like a mixed bees, right?
mm,
Because over the years they've made it, and they've just grown to be in this
mhm,
area. So you want to get the bees that are local uh, to your area and from your local beekeeper. So what city are
mhm.
you located in, or what state?
Yeah. Georgia,
Georgia.
Atlanta,
Okay.
Georgia.
All right. So there are a ton of beekeepers down there as well. So
Mhm,
you will not have a problem, connecting with them and learning more about, or going through that course even to, get your beekeeping started. Um, there are
As
a
far
lot. Sure, go ahead.
Now, I was curious about the 8-week course or program that you went through.
Mhm.
Do the beekeeper groups provide that, or is that something you do online? Or
So this was all local. So I took this course. We went locally, and I think last year or earlier this year he might have done it virtually. I can't remember. I'll have to find out and check from him. But
Mhm,
before I even went into that, there's a ton of YouTube videos that also taught me a little bit about beekeeping. There's a ton of yeah. There's a lot of YouTubers that
yeah,
talk about beekeeping a lot more than I do, because I have a lot of different hobbies.
yeah,
Since beekeeping is just starting back up, so I figured I'd just post that video, uh, trying to trying to figure out where I want to go with that. But yeah, that I can forward you some beekeeper videos and find out if there's a virtual course available around beekeeping, so that you can learn, uh, how to get
yeah.
started with beekeeping.
One of the things that I've been nervous about as far as my journey with beekeeping
Mm-hmm.
is my neighbors, because
Mm-hmm.
of course I'm not as educated as I should be for
Sure.
one. And I don't know how to control the bees. I don't know if they would venture out to my neighbor's property
Mm-hmm.
or how that would work. Is there a way to maintain your bees on your own property?
No, that's something that we do not control. Bees can travel anywhere up to 3 to 5 miles to find the
Mhm.
pollen, to find the nectar that's going to help them survive, right? So since let's say we have a hive on our property, the queen lives in that hive. So the
Mhm.
bees are always going to come back to that hive. They might venture out to other places for water and honey and propolis and not honey, nectar and pollen and propolis, but they will always come back to the hive. Now, one thing that we also do to manage the hive is to make sure that they have enough room to grow. Because
Okay.
another thing that happens is you'll have swarms. So, if there's not enough room for the bees to grow inside that honey, inside that hive, they will eventually swarm and leave the nest and go find
Yeah.
other locations to find a home in. So that's something that we also learn about swarming,
Okay.
and then talk to your neighbors. Like, hey, I'm gonna be setting up uh, a bee yard. I'm gonna be having some bees and having some local honey. And a lot of the times when I went and talked to my neighbors, they were pretty excited. They're like, "Oh, cool! What
Yeah.
flowers can we put to help your
Mhm.
bees?" Right? So they're
Right.
they're very supportive of that. So how much
Well, that's
how
good to
much land do you have? How much space?
Not a lot. What the location I'm at now, not a lot.
Okay.
Not a lot.
So
So,
let's say
but
how
I
big
have
of a yard do
enough,
you have?
um, how about a half an acre?
Okay,
It's not big
that's
at all.
That's plenty, because that's about how much I have as well, about half an acre of lot, and that's plenty of room for you to have, enough distance from you and the neighbors, and then the bees are not going to bother anybody.
And I have a L-shaped creek around my house. So that kind of divides one side of my neighbors
Hmm.
and then the other side.
So do you have water running in that creek?
Yeah, it's water there.
Okay, so the bees will be well, bees will visit that water source because that's a natural water source for them, and then they won't go to any pools or whatever, because they do need water. Uh,
Yeah.
just like any living thing.
Like all of us, I know. I have
Yes.
like a butterfly sanctuary
Oh,
as
nice.
well. I was wondering if they do, can they share that habitat?
Oh, yes, absolutely. All bees will share their habitat with all other animals. I mean, it's the humans that have the issue with sharing with other
Yes,
people,
yeah.
right? But
Hmm.
animals, they are, they they easily work together with each other. No, no problem at all.
Okay. Like say for example, I order bees and I hear this thing because I'm in like a beekeeping group and
Mm-hmm.
I hear the group members complain about mice. If I were to get a bees delivered, how
Mm-hmm.
will I be able to identify mites on the bees? Will they have like
So mites, usually when you get a new hive, it's usually either you get a package or a nuke, depending on which route you go to. Um, Usually the beekeeper that's delivering or selling you the hive will say they've done mite control and you'll get like a green sticker saying that they were
mhm,
tested for mites.
mm,
So
okay.
over time, as the year goes by, you want to test for mites. Basically take out 300 bees, put them in a sugar jar, and then you shake them around, and it'll show you the difference of if there are any mites at all. So that's
Okay.
again something that you test for over
Okay.
time. So
Mhm.
initially, when you get a package of hives, a package of bees, you shouldn't have to worry about that because
They would
uh,
have been tested.
yeah, they would have been tested already.
What do you think about the energy that you bring when you're caring for your hive?
Mhm.
Does that even matter?
Yes, it does
Just,
because if you bring calm energy to the bees, they can
mhm,
sense that you're calm. But if you're
mm,
erratic, if you're not
nervous.
comfortable, if you're
Mm-hmm.
nervous, right, so they can sense that immediately and they
Oh
will
wow.
attack. I mean, they won't really attack because you're not really bothering them, but
Mm-hmm.
depending on how calm you are, they can sense that. And
The
over
energy
time,
matters.
yeah, over time you'll like, okay, these guys are not going to bother me there because if they were to attack you, that means that they're doing a kamikaze mission, that they're going to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Because of when the bee attacks, uh, and they insert their stinger in your body, it has barbed wire. So as the bee attaches that to your body and pulls off, it's actually killing itself
Oh
to
wow.
attract other bees to that location that said, hey, there's an attack. And basically, there's a pump attached to that stinger that's
Hmm.
constantly pumping the venom inside of you. So,
So true soldier. That's what I'm
true
hearing.
soldiers, exactly. Yeah, they're amazing.
So I guess lastly, I just want to talk about PPO, like equipment and protecting yourself.
Hmm.
Even if you feel you're calm or in sync with the bees, equipment is important, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely want to get yourself a bee suit, which includes a head covering, a full jacket. They even have full get-ups. So yeah, it's kind of like a jumpsuit or whatever. But again, in Atlanta heat, it might get too hot to put all that
Yeah,
layers on, right? So
yeah,
just a top jacket with a hat, and then you want to put on jeans with long legs, and
yeah,
then into boots, and then you basically tie the bottom just in
mhm,
case a bees finds a way down there. So
yeah.
those are definitely important things that you want to get. And then the number two, you also want to get a hive tool kit as well as a smoker. So these three
Okay.
things are super essential. The hive tool kit helps you to remove the top cover, remove the boxes from each other, because over time what bees will do, they will go to plants and they'll bring propolis, which is basically like a sealant,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll seal the two. So for example, a box is sitting on the top of the next box.
Mm-hmm.
Usually air will still seep in. So what the bees do, they like a temperature controlled environment. So what they'll do is they'll bring in this glue, which is uh, called propolis from plants, and they
Mm-hmm.
will seal up every single hole. So there's only two entrances, the top and the
Wow.
bottom, and that they can control
Yeah.
the temperature through that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
so the bees, they only live what, 45 days?
Yes, so bees, worker bees, live for about 45 days, anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how much work they're doing. And then a queen bee will live up to 2 to 3 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So she's truly a queen for real.
she's truly a queen, and she's basically the egg layer, right? So
Yeah.
the worker bees will control and tell feed the food to the queen
Mhm.
bee to tell her, okay, now it's time to start laying. Now it's time to stop laying.
Mhm.
So they control that on the queen bee, but the worker bees also um, decide if the queen needs to be replaced. So they'll build queen
Okay.
cells in the
Mhm.
hive, and then and that's what happens when when there's not enough room in the beehive for them to grow.
Mhm.
They'll start building queen cells, and they'll basically uh, create a new queen bee, so then they can swarm out and leave, have enough bees for the next queen to then
Right.
swarm again.
To
So yeah,
probably relocate maybe.
yeah, relocate and whatnot. Just like our human bodies has cells that generate and they basically replicate
Mhm.
the entire way. That's entirely how a queen or a beehive also works. So
Yeah.
at a certain time, they will then want to split and duplicate. So yeah, it's really important to you know get that early training. There's a few books that I can recommend
Okay.
that talks about and that we went through for our class. There's a ton of information in these books that you
I
can.
want to thank you for
Of
your
course,
time today.
yeah,
I really appreciate it because it's like, connecting with people who know and who experience it every day. You can't read that. You
yeah,
can't get it
yeah.
anywhere. So I really appreciate you. But is there any things that you would like to suggest that I didn't bring up?
Um, Great question. So as a beekeeper, right? So the reason I went into beekeeping, right? So you're focusing on the urban, as an urban beekeeper or urban farmer.
Mm-hmm.
Bees not only help to pollinate your plants, they're
Hmm.
also a pure source of sugar or pure source of honey,
Yeah.
which also helps your seasonal allergies. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really really important. Um, Making sure that the bees have proper ventilation, proper sun, water access, is really important as well. And I'm not sure how long the summers are or the spring is
Hmm.
in Atlanta, but here in Northern Virginia, we only get about 5 months of good pollination, like where they can go and get ton of honey. In places like Australia, where there's warmer weathers,
Hmm.
bees tend to have a lot more months of pollination, a lot more honey production. So we're limited to 5 months of production. So what we do is we provide them with sugar water when there's summer dearth, meaning there's no pollens, there's no. So making sure you're a good beekeeper, you want to make sure that all of those things are in place. And the
Okay.
books definitely give you a really good foundation. But again, connecting with other beekeepers that are local to you
Hmm.
will also help you be a better beekeeper yourself.
Okay. I think also talking with your provider or your doctor just to see if you have some sort of bee allergies,
Hmm.
because I, God forbid, if I get bit and then I
Yes.
you know have an allergy that I had no wasn't aware of.
Yes, that's a really good point. So there's two types of reactions that you can have. A localized reaction where if you got stung in a certain place,
Hmm.
you'll see it's a similar reaction to what you have with a mosquito bite, right?
Yeah.
Or you have a secondary reaction which is similar to an allergic reaction like that
Hmm.
that we get from foods and other rashes.
Yeah.
So if you have an anaphylactic reaction, to be more medically terminal, you
Hmm.
want to make sure that you get checked for
Okay.
that. Yeah, so that's really important. And I think a simple blood test can help, you know,
Mm-hmm.
tell if you have bee allergies. Now, I'm not 100% sure how that can be combated if you have bee allergies. Would
Mm-hmm.
consuming honey help with the bee allergies? I'm not 100% sure. So that's something that I'm going to have to look up as well.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Trish. I
you so
appreciate
much.
it.
And I appreciate you.